As the first third of 2024 wraps up, it may have been one of the most insane periods for Japanese RPG releases ever. From titles like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Grand Blue Fantasy Reeling, Persona 3 Reload, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, need I go on and on. It has just been an absolute insane period of major JRPG releases. And while I think this first third of 2024 is going to be heralded as one of the craziest and most stacked periods of JRPG releases, it's not slowing it down all that much for the rest of 2024. There are still a ton of compelling JRPGs to drop for the rest of 2024, and that's what I want to highlight in this video. Now, keep in mind, we're going to be going over the JRPGs, the PlayStation JRPGs for the rest of 2024. There may be quite a few games that get announced and are followed up with a release pretty quickly thereafter. When we get to, the summertime and a lot of games are going to get revealed, most of those titles, chances are going to be scheduled for 2025, but some of them might bleed into a 2024 release, so keep that in mind as well. A lot to go over, so let's just get right into this video, and let's start off with what I think is the biggest JRPG for the rest of 2024. That is Metaphor ReFantazio. What a JRPG this is shaping up to be, coming from Atlus and a star-studded team. From the creative minds behind Persona 3, 4, and 5 comes Metaphor ReFantazio, a unique fantasy world where your protagonist will join alongside his fairy companion to lift the curse from the kingdom's lost prince, control your destiny, face your fears, and awaken magical archetype powers that lie dormant in your heart. By awakening to an archetype, you will unlock the power to channel and combine the abilities of unique job classes, strengthen your bonds, and build your party to take down powerful foes and discover the kingdom's true nature. Go on quests, dungeon dive, and hunt for treasures by day. Strengthen relationships, build bonds, and increase virtues by night. Choose your actions wisely. Time management is key to achieving your goals. Ride your gauntlet runner to faraway dungeons and towns across an expansive world. Discover beautiful landscapes accompanied by captivating music, immersive UI, and anime cutscenes. Visually, the game looks fantastic. Has a lot of style, and the aesthetics just look great. We'll see how the game ultimately turns out. Metaphor ReFantazio drops on October 11th. Next up, also coming from Atlus and Sega, we have Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. Yes, the refined version of SMT5, now hitting all other major platforms. Embark on the definitive version of this critically acclaimed Shin Megami Tensei 5, massively expanded with a brand new storyline featuring new locations, demons, and choices to make that will dictate the fate of all existence. Now, it is quite comical how you can predict what Atlus is gonna do so easily these days. Release base game, then release the enhanced version about a year or 16 months later. I mean, P3R is essentially getting that with the expansion pass, and I'm sure they're gonna bundle it in all together, and I'm sure Metaphor ReFantazio will get it at some point as well. That's just what they do at this point. However, SMT5 now is coming to all other platforms, which is incredibly exciting. Again, this will be the definitive version of the game. Vengeance consists of 2 complete story paths. Experience a brand new route, the canon of Vengeance, a dramatic tale of revenge by the fallen centered around new characters and enigmatic cohort of demons. They plot their own dark designs apart from the war of those who fight to maintain order and those who seek to defy it. Gonna be a challenging RPG, JRPG, a little bit of a darker aesthetic here. SMT5 Vengeance drops on June 14th. Next up, a 1-2 punch here. We got Monster Hunter Stories and Monster Hunter Stories 2 both dropping on June 14th. Nice to see Monster Hunter Stories finally hit other platforms. Stories 2 has been available on Switch and PC. Now we got Monster Hunter Stories, which was initially released on the 3DS, getting remastered and released on modern platforms, and Monster Hunter Stories 2 will also be ported to PlayStation on top of that. Monster Hunter Stories is an RPG that takes the world of Monster Hunter and expands upon it in new and exciting ways. No longer are you hunting monsters, but raising them. In this deep story featuring heroes known as Monster Riders, you will live alongside monsters and form lifelong bonds with them. This one's coming at a budget price point as well. Monster Hunter Stories drops on June 14th, as does Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin. So yes, come June 14th, you've got SMT5 and both Monster Hunter Stories games to go through if you're on PlayStation. Gonna be quite the ride there. Next up, here's one that I am incredibly excited about. The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. Now, The Legend of Heroes, in my opinion, is the standard bearer when it comes to narrative and world building in a JRPG franchise. Sure, when you're talking about this many games, it's certainly not hitting a home run every single time out, but the depth of characters, the depth to the world, how the narrative is weaved together, it is fairly remarkable what they have accomplished. Now, the daunting element of Legend of Heroes is always going to be getting into the franchise. Most people are going to recommend you to play through the entire Sky trilogy, then you play the Crossbell games, then you play the 4 Cold Steel games, then you play Reverie, and then, oh, you're finally caught up and you can play another 80-hour JRPG in Trails Through Daybreak. Now, to be fair, Trails Through Daybreak is starting a new arc, but I still probably wouldn't recommend you to jump right into the game without playing the other titles. Ultimately, it's your decision to make. I think you should be playing all the other Legend of Heroes games, even if they do show their age a little bit. From a narrative standpoint, they are so worthwhile, so compelling in that regard, that I think they're easy recommendations, even if they are a little bit older. Trails Through Daybreak finally drops on July 5th. Very nice to see this franchise make an impact over here stateside and getting localized regularly. Next up, another major Square Enix JRPG. This one not getting as much buzz, certainly, as FF7 Rebirth, but Visions of Mana is one you should absolutely be excited about. A new adventure begins in Visions of Mana, the first mainline title in the Mana series in over 15 years. Immerse yourself in the vibrant graphics of this beautiful world where the powers of nature blend with the elemental aspects of mana to create a rich tapestry of life. Journey through enchanting locations with near seamless transition in a semi-open field that's yours to discover. Brace yourself for fast-paced, multi-dimensional actions in battle to enrich your fighting experience. Use the magic of the elementals to explore this vast world to your heart's content. Expect fast-paced gameplay, and on top of that, a narrative to get invested into. Visions of Mana will be dropping in 2024. Next up, coming from Level 5, we have DECAPOLICE. Yes, Level 5 is dropping a new JRPG later this year. We did just have the release of Megaton Musashi, but now we have DECAPOLICE coming from Level 5, a mysterious detective story with investigations in a virtual world. DECAPOLICE is a crime suspense RPG from Level 5, developers of the Layton series as well. The main character, a rookie detective named Harvard, hunts down criminals in a huge open-world crime-ridden city, traveling back and forth between physical and virtual reality. Look forward to a mysterious detective story with investigations in virtual space. Level 5 is one of those studios that the people that know about them know how incredibly talented they are. For a little while, it looked like their games were not going to be coming stateside. Looks like that has changed, and DECAPOLICE will be dropping in 2024. Next up, at the top, I mentioned Eiyun Chronicle 100 Heroes. What was a franchise that it was paying love to? Oh, that's right, Suikoden, and Konami is bringing out Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, Gate Rune, and Dunan Unification Wars. Now, growing up, I was never a big Suikoden guy. Suikoden 1 and 2 were a little bit before my time, but that's all the great reason for me to revisit these games with 1 and 2 HD Remaster, and the games look fantastic. It's nice to see that Suikoden is getting a little bit of love, and I know Konami is certainly not everybody's favorite publisher these days, with good reason, but to get both of these games remastered and updated, all background illustrations have been upgraded to HD, updated effects breathe new life into the pixel art animation, new environmental sounds effects to immerse yourself in this fantasy world. Battle sound effects are also now HD and add a new level of realism. Newly add an autosave, which is nice. Battle fast forward, that's awesome. Something that, Eiyun Chronicle could definitely use. Conversation log as well. All that and more to be coming with Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster, Gate Rune, and Dunan Unification Wars. Now, this was scheduled to release in 2023, has since been pushed back, and hopefully it will be dropping in 2024. Next up, long-running JRPG franchise, one of the most consistent on the market today, I&II Nordics will finally be coming stateside, explore uncharted islands, engage in fast-paced action combat, and experience the high seas adventures of the unlikely allies of Adol and Karja and I&II Nordics. Obviously, this has been a franchise that's been around for a very long time, and it seems like it's getting a little bit more buzz here stateside. We had the release of Ys 8. I think a lot of people gravitated towards that. Ys 9 Montram Nox was fantastic, and now we have I&II Nordics. Two heroes, one story bound by unexpected circumstances. The young adventurer Adol and the Norman pirate Karja must work together to determine the fate of Obelia Gulf and its people. Cross-action system swap between controlling the two characters independently or together. The power of mana. Harness the unique abilities of mana to overcome challenges, and a sailor's delight. The sailing ship known as the Sandras takes your exploration to new levels. Ocean travel, naval battles, and discovering uncharted islands are all made possible with this seaworthy vessel. East 10 Nordics drops in 2024. Next up, we have REYNATIS. This is a brand new IP coming from NIS America, and it looks fantastic. Fantasy meets reality in Shibuya, Tokyo, where magic is something to be feared. In this action RPG, a young wizard seeks freedom through strength, and an officer seeks to control magic and restore order. When their paths cross, a darkness that will transform the world descends. The game kind of came out of nowhere, but I gotta say, from a visual style, a little bit different than a lot of the other JRPGs coming. Excited for it, and it's scheduled for a release later in 2024. Next up, we have Wings of Endless. Discover the secret of a forgotten war in Wings of Endless, a platforming action RPG with a captivating pixel art style that'll draw you in from start to finish. Step into the role of Haruku, a brash bounty hunter who boasts of being the best at his craft. Wings of Endless is scheduled for release later this year. Next up, we have Card-en-Ciel. Card-en-Ciel is a deck-building roguelite RPG featuring over 300 characters and 50 vocal songs. Earn a chance to recruit a new ally with each victory, opening up new strategies and combos. It's a deck-building title. Cards can be used for their effects, for movement, or their special skills. Choosing the right mode for each card is key. Card-en-Ciel is scheduled for release in 2024. Next up, we have Azur Promilia. Azur Promilia is an open-world action RPG, and it is set in a fantasy world with creature companionship. Step into a fantasy world utterly different from the world you know. The world of various civilizations, magic, and incredible fantasy creatures, together with tales echoing in the starry sky. Take a daring leap from the sky into the ocean to once again encounter and bond with new life. Guided by shooting stars and the sparkling constellations, this is your very own journey. The entire universe eagerly anticipates the Ballad of Stars and Odyssey, exclusively yours to unfold. Visually looks great. We'll see how this one turns out, as it is scheduled to drop in 2024. Lastly, Cards RPG, the Misty Battlefield. Now, I think this game looks fantastic. This game combines roguelike style deck building with strategy RPGs to create an all-new experience. Follow Vel as she leads the battalion into battle against the enemy. Collect 100 different cards to build the strongest deck and fight enemies on a map shrouded in mist. Great visual style here as well, and I'm a sucker for these card games, these roguelike deck builders. I feel like it's a pretty good gameplay style. Obviously, you have to differentiate from some of the games that have really garnered a lot of traction, but Cards RPG looks like it's a pretty good one. As far as its presentation, hopefully it's got a quality and depth to its gameplay. Cards RPG drops on May 22nd, and that's gonna do it for me again. While early this year was absolutely jam-packed, one of the most insane periods of JRPG releases, when you had the release of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and Persona 3 Reload in like the span of a week. Okay, it's gonna be hard to reach that levels, but I gotta say, for the rest of the year, there's still a lot of stuff to be excited for. And guess what? Like I said, we're only in April. By June, you're gonna see more games get announced. Maybe they might not be the biggest games in the world, but you'll see a couple more games get announced. You'll see a couple more games get set up for the latter portion of the year, and we sure will be covering those as well. It's just a great time to be a JRPG fan, and as somebody that's been a fan of this genre going back to the early 2000s, I cannot remember the last time we've seen this level of quality and this level of consistency in JRPG release. You guys remember the days. If you're around my age and you've been a fan of JRPGs as long as I have, you guys remember when we were uncertain about getting Tales of games over here stateside. We didn't know Legend of Heroes, what's that? Are we gonna get those games regularly? Even Persona was getting significantly delayed releases, and now you just see all of these different IPs pop off. If you told me a decade and a half ago that this was ever going to happen, I would have thought you were crazy. I mean, back in 2009, 2010, we didn't even get Final Fantasy 13 day and day with the Japanese release, and now look at how the game has changed. It's a different world we're living in, but damn it, I am excited to be living in it here in 2024. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.